Welcome everyone to the SuperConnect for Good virtual final. I'm Costa Mavroulakis and I'm the founder and CEO of MPAT Ventures. And we're delighted to be here today for this initiative, which we've co-designed with Hays. Thank you ever so much for everybody that have joined us from around the world. We've got people joining us from Germany, Austria, India, Australia, China, and of course, England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. So to give you a background to MPAT Ventures, I'll start by saying this. We're here to be super connectors, opening the right doors at the right time for the right people to create the right mutual outcomes. And our mission is to create an aggregate social and economic impact by mobilizing entrepreneurial networks to help people address their challenges. We call that making an impact. Effectively, what we do is we co-design different startup initiatives with corporates in the private sector like Hays, and also in the public sector, such as healthcare organizations, education institutions, LEPs, councils, and more. And they are focused on bringing together tech startups and scale-ups with larger organizations to explore mutual collaborations, funding, and more. We co-design initiatives like SuperConnect for Good, the SuperConnect series, Startup Britain, and more. We also scout innovation for a number of organizations, helping them to adopt this innovation internally as pilots, contracts, partnerships, and also helping funders to look at providing investment, grants, and loans. We also SuperConnect a number of tech startups and scale-ups in our membership, opening the right doors to potential partners, clients, and funders. And really, what makes us different is that whether we're running a physical event in the SuperConnect series or a virtual event, we collect a lot of data about you. We manually matchmake you prior to the event, and we make introductions during, after, and before. Over the past 2 years, we've been running the SuperConnect series across 16 events across 9 cities across England primarily. We've done Leeds, Bournemouth, London, Milton Keynes, Bristol, and more. And we were planning to go into Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, but COVID stopped us. And when lockdown hit, we sat down with Hays and decided that we wanted to do something good. We wanted to come to you in your homes and to connect people and to really focus on bringing about supporting, educating, and connecting great technology that is actually doing good right now, whether you're in education, healthcare, public services, or more. So we came up with SuperConnect for Good, a national tech for good competition to discover, connect, and raise awareness of the fantastic companies that are doing some wonderful activity across the UK. And so we brought together the initiative, and we brought together around 45 plus regional judges. We brought together 15 industry judges, 15 great partners who are here with us today, from OVH Cloud, Microsoft for Startups, Unlimited, and more. For our inaugural year, we received so many great applications throughout September. And our judges, our regional judges, came together over 8 calls across a 3-day period to decide who our 8 regional winners should be, which we announced on the 2nd of November. And these were in the areas of AI, EdTech, health tech, with a focus on general health tech and also healthy aging, MedTech, GovTech, smart cities, also covering IoT, intelligent transport, and 5G. We're delighted to be here today. For this event, we'll be covering, firstly, you'll see our 8 regional winners that will be pitching and taking questions from the judges. We'll also have 2 roundtables. One is our Tech for Good roundtable, which I'll also be joining on, and one is our growth roundtable, talking about the challenges going from startup to scale up and the roadmap to success. We'll also be announcing our national winner at the end, as well as our 7 industry winners through our partners who are joining us today. And at the end of the day, we also have a digital exhibition where you can go and meet over 20 exhibitors. Those include the 8 regional winners that are pitching today, but also 12 great partners who can support you with your business challenges. So if you've got an investment challenge, go to the Angel's Den stand or the Ying-D stand. If you've got a marketing challenge, go to the hybrid marketing stand. There are many stands here. And if you've got a recruitment challenge, of course, go to the Hays Rise stand. If you want to download a copy of the Hays Startup Report, which talks about challenges, also go to the Startup exhibition as well. I'd like to give a special mention to our great regional winners that are here today, and also our 40 plus speakers, partners, exhibitors, team members. I'd also like to say a big thank you to Hays for supporting us over the last 3 years. We've loved working with you, in particular to James Hallahan, James Milligan, Nicole, Simon Winfield, and more. I know we've got over 20 members of the Hays team. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to my team, Gemma, Alex, Raphael, and Luke, who've really helped to pull this together. It really means a lot. If anybody needs support on the day, please feel free to use the chat. The MPAT Ventures team will be in the MPAT Ventures Expo booth. If any of the speakers need support, please go to your green room. And now I'm going to hand over to James Hallahan, Director for Hays IT and Hays Digital Technology, and National Judge and Delivery Partner for SuperConnect for Good, who's going to join us now. Hi, James. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to finally be here after all these months of planning and see that everything is coming together.
Absolutely. Good morning, Costa. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Well, I've given an introduction to myself and the initiative, but why don't you give an introduction to yourself and Hays and your work supporting tech startups and scale-ups and the relationship between us over the last 3 years?
Perfect. Thank you, Costa. Well, good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be part of the Tech for Good virtual final today. My name's James, and I've had the pleasure of working in the technology talent ecosystem over the last 22 years. Our goal was to discover the best emerging and disruptive technology startup and scale-ups in the UK and Ireland, and connect you to a wider and influential audience, which will ultimately help you and us all to flourish. And that's connections to potential partners, connections to potential funders, and of course, customers. And I am confident that you will really enjoy hearing about many of those brilliant businesses today. I think it's so fitting that this event takes place during Global Entrepreneurship Week. A common theme for all entrepreneurs and founders as part of this event has been the real clarity of purpose, the vision and business models, the ambitions to scale, and most significantly to impact on us, a clear and positive social change and impact to enhance people's lives through technology. As co-creators, we are delighted to work with MPAT Ventures, and we're determined to, as Costa has said, to ensure that we are both continuing to super connect people and organisations during this challenging time. We at Hays have been investing in the start and scale up community for some time now. And as the UK's largest specialist recruiters, we have a vision to be lifelong partners to people. That's learning and skills development, as well as supporting talent to secure their next career move or their next freelance or contract opportunity. And we have been delivering our own talent surveys over the last 5 years that demonstrate that almost 2/3 of technology talent want to work within startup or scale-up environments as part of their careers. So it's vital for us at Hays that we are consistently and collectively providing these opportunities to professionals. Some 3 years ago now, we partnered with Impact, with whom we've worked closely with to launch a series of networking events, again, to bring the ecosystems together, startups, scale-ups and larger organisations across all regions in the UK and Ireland. And back in 2019, we co-branded our first tech startup report, which uncovered some of the key challenges you'll all be very familiar with: securing funding, cash flow management, increasing sales and growing your customer base, marketing and raising the company profile, and of course, attracting and retaining your talent. And within the technology specialism at Hays, which is our largest both nationally and globally, we have our own internal vision. And our own internal vision is to innovate like a startup. And to us, this means positive disruption, agility of thought, our pace of adoption, iteration of our own products and services, and of course, the evolution and development of our subject matter expertise. So we have been innovating too at Hays Rise. In May of this year, we launched Hays Rise. Hays Rise is our own subscription-based model, providing access to talent, skills, and content as a service. And this product is very much tailor-made for the startup and scale-up community. It offers access to the most in-demand talent pools to help you to get your product and service to market, and equally to support you in the skills development of your team, which will support talent retention. And finally, the many examples of insight-driven content that we produce at Hays on a local and international basis. As you will all know, the likes of good software developers, data scientists, and cloud engineers, they absolutely have their pick when it comes to looking for new opportunities. So we look to support your scaling journey. We look to raise your company profile through our own technology and our own platforms. And ultimately, we look to naturally supercharge your own value proposition. We've also been busy over the last few years looking at how we support talent to develop their skills with technology accreditation programs like Hays Certified and more recent reskilling programs we're embarking on to develop talent aligned to demand in the new world, for example, in areas like CRM. And finally, I will mention the exploratory work we are currently doing in many examples in partnership with regional technology clusters and ecosystems to provide technology platforms and services to both attract and retain talent at a time of great competition. So that's how we are looking to innovate and make a real positive impact. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about all the regional winners shortly. And I'd like to thank everybody who is taking part both today and who has done so across the regional events.
Thank you so much, James. And it's been wonderful to work with you. And as you say, be here in Global Entrepreneurship Week, which I've had the pleasure to have been part of for the last decade, and in the last 2 years as an advisor to GW, and this year as the National Director for England. So it's fantastic that we're here today. I'd also like to say that the report, if anybody wants to see it, I've got it right here. But if you'd like a copy of it, like I said, please go to the exhibition stand. And we're now going to continue and go across to our 8 regional winners who'll be pitching. So thank you for joining us, James. We will see you later for the announcement, and good luck with the judging as well.
Thanks, Costa, and good luck, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to go on to playing having our 8 regional winners join us. So yeah, let's go on to our first pitch, which is with Kids Speech for the Republic of Ireland, and we'll have Shona here representing. So let's play Kids Speech's video.
Hi, my name is Shona Darcy and I'm the founder of Kids Speech Labs. Speech and language development is such an important developmental phase for young children, especially as they start to go into school. Communication skills in the early stages not only impact education while they're in school, but can also have significant impact on later life as adults. The current speech and language development system isn't working for anyone. Children are sitting on waiting lists for over a year, missing that critical early intervention window when interventions have the most impact. Parents are stressed and anxious because they see their child going without the help that they need, and they're also spending huge amounts of money out of pocket to see private therapists. The healthcare system and therapists are missing out on really important data that can help them understand how to deploy resources more efficiently and ensure that all children get the help that they need. Kids Speech Labs is building a technology platform focusing on remote assessment. Using fun, interactive games, we are able to score children's speech and language skills, using these to generate personalised interventions, all delivered on a fun, interactive platform, which means children are more likely to engage with their intervention, improving the likelihood of improved outcomes through the interventions. This is all underpinned by a regulatory strategy with the goal of achieving software as medical device designation, which will be a first in this industry. Kids Speech Labs wants to empower parents to understand how their child's speech and language is developing. So think about a voice version of the height and weight chart that parents already use. Add on reliable, clinically validated intervention solutions that allow parents to get involved as early as possible and intervene in the early stages will reduce the reliance on face-to-face therapy that is one of the bottlenecks within the system at the moment. All of this feeds into our goal to ensure that no child has problem accessing the resources they need to develop their communication skills. It shouldn't depend on where a child lives, whether their parents can afford private healthcare, or even if a parent is able to shout louder than another parent for a child to get the resources that they need. There's over 150 million children across the EU and the Americas in our target age group, so looking at the European languages. About 25% of parents have concerns about their child's speech and language development. So with a 30% adoption rate, we could have 8 million people on our platform within 10 years. Our multidisciplinary team crosses all the skills we need to achieve our goals. This all started with my background in speech recognition and 12 years of research in digital health. Lindsay is our speech and language therapist who has a real interest in using technology to address the limitations she sees within her industry. Aaron has an extensive development background, but also a research background. And Gordon is our commercialization and operations officer who ensures that we remember that in order to have the biggest impact, we do need a sustainable business model. So we started in 2018 when we won the Ireland's Fund Business Competition. This is when we saw that there really was a business here. We have had over 150 families testing our prototype in the last 9 months. And as COVID hit this year, our plans for working more closely with the HSE and the healthcare providers has been accelerated as they've asked us to help us use our digital health knowledge to support their move over to teletherapy. So why should we be named the national winner in this competition? We are not only going to improve the system as it is and ensure that the people who normally go into speech therapy have a better experience, but by developing low cost and scalable solutions, we're going to hit all of those children that normally fall between the gaps in this developmental story. So up to 50% of children from disadvantaged backgrounds are attending school with communication skills below their peers. So we want to ensure that no child enters school without having their milestones met or having the ability to access the resources they need. And with any luck, we can make sure that there's no disadvantaged children in terms of their speech and language development. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to your questions.
Great presentation. Thanks. We're now going to bring in Shona to answer my questions that I've got from the judges. Hi, Shona.
Hi there.
Thanks for joining us today, and congratulations on being our regional winner for the Republic of Ireland.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Well, I spoke to the judges and they've commented to say that they're impressed with your business. They see that there's a huge shortage of speech therapists and there's many children with acute needs who are not being seen. So really any technology to fill the gap is very welcome. So the questions that the judges have got for you are as follows. Firstly, they're keen to know more about the unique technology and the algorithms that you've developed with KidSpeech. Can you tell us a bit about how it works?
So we're starting with data collection. So what we're doing is trying to take a unique approach to this industry. So at the moment we are using speech recognition and data analysis to understand what normal speech and language development looks like. So how can we drive quantitative analysis of normal speech and language with the view to being able to identify what sits outside of normal speech and language. So we're using just a lot of data, very detailed data analysis. So we're also doing a lot of kind of model training. So using our understanding of the kind of the clinical aspects of speech and language development, also our data-driven research methodologies. So we are hand labeling all of our data to make sure that it's as accurate as possible, and building our models for correct and incorrect speech skills based on that. And as we expand, we'll start to look at, so at the moment we're looking at articulation because that's the first thing that parents are concerned about. And we're growing out our the range of speech skills that we're looking at. So looking at slightly more complex speech skills, more verbose skills.
And what are the main milestones that you've achieved in terms of the number of people you're supporting, and what aspirations do you have for the business going forward?
So we are just about to release our clinical pre-screening platform, which is going live with 4 sites in Ireland in early December. With each of these sites, we expect to get between about 15 to 20 families per month onboarded onto the system. And the goal for this is to ensure that parents have early interventions that they can do at home while they're waiting for their speech and language therapy appointment. So it's about ensuring that there's early activities that can actually address specifically the child's issues that have been fed by the speech and language therapist. So there are over, if you look at the stats in Ireland, there can be 30,000 children waiting on speech and language therapy appointments in any one year. And they're all the children that we want to help. And then that's that that's only in Ireland. So before we even get to the UK, and we know that there are issues in the UK as well, particularly with those children who are not getting picked up until they get into school. And at that point, they've missed that really critical early intervention window, which is between 3 and 5 years of age, when small, little and often interventions can have a huge impact on a child's learning ability.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I guess with COVID-19, like homeschooling experiments for online learning, machine-based programs, they can be ineffective unless you've got a dedicated teacher or parent. How do you feel?
We want to support parents' ability to do. Parents want to get involved. We see that with this new growing parent tech industry. Parents are no longer willing to sit back and wait for a therapist to give them the answer that they're looking for. They want to get involved themselves, but it's hugely important to make sure that the interventions and the tools and tips we provide parents can fit into their daily lives. They're not an additional burden, but can be delivered in small doses, but parents are feeling empowered and they understand what they're doing.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And good luck. And if anybody wants to connect with Shona, she'll be in the exhibition later on at 12:45, where you can connect with her over video. And if you'd like to connect via email, please select the Super Connect Me button and we will make those introductions. But thanks so much, Shona, and good luck.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Let's go to Scotland now, in Edinburgh, for Neatbox, who's our regional winner for Scotland. So let's kick off there.
Hi, my name is Gavin Neat and I am the CEO and founder of Neatbox. I'm going to talk to you today about Welcome. Welcome is a system that helps disabled people get better customer service. Why is that important? Well, there are 13 million disabled people in the United Kingdom. 70% of them have said that they've had poor customer service. Their spending power is around about, and increasing every year, £270 billion per year. This is quite obviously money that companies cannot afford to be missing out on. So how can I help them? Well, my background. I worked for Guide Dogs for the Blind for 18 years. In 2011, I invented the world's first pedestrian crossing operated by smartphones. I realized that smartphones could press the button at the pedestrian crossing. and then realized that smartphones could be used for loads of other things. We utilized the location services on the phone to indicate when the person was just about to walk through the door of any business. We were the first company in the world to ever do this. Location-based staff training and awareness for all disabled people, no matter what their disability or condition. So here's the app, and this is how it works. What we do, we download the free app as a disabled person, we click on Plan Visit. We then get information on all the different venues that are involved. We go down to the welcome demo venue for this particular situation, and we look at the opening times, the accessibility features of the building. We say we're going. When do we want to go? Let's go tomorrow. Are you exempt from wearing a mask? Yes, I am. Do you require an accessible toilet? Yes, I do. Do you have any food allergies? No, I don't. Next. What do you want to do on this visit? I'm meeting Alan. We're going out for a coffee, but I would like to use the accessible toilet before we go. I'm happy using and staying in the reception while I wait for him. Done? Next. This will confirm your booking. But before I do that, I want to show you what this means for the venue. This is the venue, and this is on the website they have in their building. So I'm now going to click on yes on the booking. This says your requirements have been sent, and that is instantly transferred to the venue, no matter where that venue is in the world. Here we can see Gavin. We can see it's tomorrow between 12 and 1, and Gavin would like us to know about ataxia. We've got view. If we click on view, we can see more information. I'm meeting Alan. We're going out for a coffee, but I would like to use the accessible toilet. So we have that information. We then have an overview of the condition ataxia. We have top tips on how you should interact with that person. We have links to the charity who gave us the information. And of course, we have the question responses, which I gave when I was booking the visit. I then hit on the accept button up here, and that sends a message to Gavin to say we know you're coming. Gavin then gets close to the building and then gets close to the geofence here. As soon as he hits the geofence, a message goes to the customer service team to say that Gavin is just about to walk through the door. So we're the first company in the world to ever provide this service. We won Tech Nations last year. We were invited by Google to become part of their mentor group. We did that for the first 12 months in 2020. We're now in a position to spread this around the world. Amazingly, nobody has ever done this before. Location controlled staff training and awareness for disabled people has never been done. We are the only company doing it. That is remarkable. The reason it's remarkable is because that massive spending power of disabled people. We also have a pandemic in the United Kingdom and indeed the rest of the world around loneliness. People are afraid to leave their houses. Quite obviously, if you're disabled, you don't know about the services you're going to get before you get to the building. We're reducing that anxiety and we're letting people know how they're going to be served when they get through the door. But more than that, we're helping the customer service team provide better service. Better service, more loyalty, more customers through the door, more loyal customers spend more money. We can change retail. In fact, we already are. Edinburgh Airport installed it. They now provide better service. Royal Bank of Scotland installed it. They now provide better service. We want you to help us get the message out there and also to build this company to something that can provide a service all around the world. Thank you so much indeed for your time. We want to see you in the demo room, and I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Great. That was a wonderful presentation. Great to see so much impact being created. So we're now going to be joined by Gavin from Neatbox to answer the questions from the judges. Hey, Gavin.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for joining us from Edinburgh.
Well, I'm in Glasgow, but the team's all over Scotland. And the rest of the team are in Glasgow. Some of them are in Edinburgh as well.
Fantastic. Well, the judges really liked what you're doing, the incredible work, and they wanted to ask you these questions. So on average, how often do your current customers use the product, and how many people are you helping today?
Well, it's pretty challenging for a lot of disabled people, as everybody would imagine, with many people shielding and many people just getting back into a situation where they feel comfortable going out again. And then we go into lockdown. But we've actually got 2 people going to the Forge shopping center. We launched in a shopping center recently. Got 2 people going there today. Those are the people that are a bit more comfortable. We had a lady using it all the way through lockdown at Royal Bank of Scotland in Haddington. So we have a growing number of people. We've got about 3,500 downloads, but this is early stuff. Even before COVID, we were still growing at that point. But the more people that use it, that reduce the anxiety they have before they leave their house, before they actually travel to one of the venues. We've got about 70 venues currently.
Fantastic. And is this repeat usage, or do they just use it for unusual events or one-off events?
Depends on the venue, depends on where they're wanting to travel to. So the lady who was using the bank all the way through COVID, she was going on a weekly basis, but she would be able to put in a message as to what she wanted to do when she went there. But the Forge shopping center, we've got a lady who's going there for the first time. So that's somebody who is using the app for the first time, knows that when she gets to the door, she's going to be met by somebody who then does everything they should do when they're meeting somebody. And of course, that's massive importance. 75% of disabled people have hidden disabilities. So unless they self-declare verbally at the moment they meet customer service teams, there's no way that that person can direct how they interact with them in a way that's specific to their need. But this way they do it before they even walk through the door. Dyslexia, diabetes, stammering, all can be told to customer service teams before you walk through the door.
That's fantastic, and the fact that you're the only company doing it is great as well. And so, does the venue have a separate system they use, a separate interface, or do you integrate with any of their existing systems?
So currently it's a web-based server. So all you have to have is an internet connection. We recommend Firefox and Chrome, and then people just log in through the web. They get an indication when anybody books a visit, when anybody hits a geofence, or when anybody gets close to the beacon. The beacon is a small device that's inside the building that says when the person has arrived. There's also a manual arrival button within the phone. We're just about to launch, probably by the end of November, a 2-way messaging system between customer service team and the disabled user.
Okay, fantastic. And so for businesses, will businesses really gain enough extra revenue to make this interesting for them?
We launched with House of Fraser. One lady told us after she'd been, and House of Fraser were paying £30 a month for this product. One lady went in, she said, it was brilliant. I had to walk around. The lady followed me around the shop and it had a stool. And every time I wanted to actually feel some clothing or talk to her, she would put the stool down and I'd take a seat. She spent £200 that day on a jacket that she hadn't intended buying before she went in because her customer service was brilliant. But we also launched with the NHS just recently at Golden Jubilee Hospital here in Glasgow. For them, it's all about customer service and customer journey and satisfaction with going through the NHS service. We've also just about to launch with a health centre in Brighton. So we see this being massive, where it's not necessarily raising income, but it's also improving customer journeys. But we definitely see there being a response from people going places repeatedly, going to a coffee shop every week rather than choosing different ones because they know the customer service is going to be better for them there.
That's fantastic. And how many businesses do you think are using it? I know obviously you said it's still early days.
We've got 70 venues, but a lot of those venues are enterprise clients. So Royal Bank of Scotland, 15 venues currently. But if we're looking at NatWest, that's 1,500 potentially. But then you've got Lloyds Bank or any other bank, because this is one app for all venues. Northlink Ferries installed it and put it into 6 of their ferry terminals. So the sky is truly the limit. This is more about capturing market share before somebody else goes, oh my God, that's the best idea ever. How do you train staff currently? You do some sort of staff training and then hope, with your fingers crossed, that they're going to try and remember that or even identify that somebody has a disability. The person who looks drunk is probably drunk. No, there's a very good chance they could have a Parkinson's, ataxia, cerebral palsy, acquired brain injury, any number of different conditions. So knowing that in advance is going to be massive. One day we're going to look back and we're going to say, what, you used to guess what the person wanted before they came through the door? You used to guess how to interact with them? I think that's the past. This is the future.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, and really good luck. And if anybody wants to connect with Neatbox, please head over to the expo at 12:45. And if you'd like to connect, then jump on video and start talking to Gavin.
Thank you. It's a massive pleasure to be here. And I can't stress enough that everybody who's in this final, it's awesome.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Great. Let's go over to where we're based, in Bournemouth, in the south. So we're going to be joined by Harry from MyM Health in a minute. He's actually joining from Essex, but MyM Health is based in Bournemouth. So yeah, let's play Harry's video.
The MyCOPD app is a wonderful tool that helps promote self-management of patients and empowers them to take ownership of their own lung condition. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's a condition that affects the lungs that must be taken seriously. It's our job as clinicians to prevent further progression of this condition and empower patients to take ownership of their own health through use of the MyCOPD app.
My name's Paul Quinn. I suffer from COPD. Before I started using the MyCOPD app, I knew nothing and my family knew nothing about COPD. And now I'm in a position where my COPD's improved how I live my life. The pulmonary rehab videos on there are astonishing. I mean, I go to pulmonary rehab, it keeps us fit, but I can honestly say, without fear of contradiction, I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't been on that app.
Great. So that was a great video from MyM Health, and we're going to be joined by Harry from MyM Health. So can we just put Harry into the call, please? Bear with us, everyone. Harry, are you with us here? Can we just test that you're here? Ah, there you are, Harry. We could see you're not showing up. So we're here for a Tech for Good, and the tech slightly fails. But yeah, thanks for joining us. You're in Essex, I believe?
I am. I'm at home in sunny Essex.
Fantastic. But the team is down south in Bournemouth, obviously.
That's right. That's where our head office is, yeah.
Excellent. Well, congratulations for being our regional winner for the South. You're doing some great work, making a lot of impact. And I spoke to the judges, and they're keen to know how your current platform, how the data links with existing NHS systems, and who approves the content.
Sure. So at the moment, our system is self-contained. The idea behind the platform really is to provide patients with tools that they can use to look after themselves better, and then to provide new tools to clinical teams so they can remotely monitor and manage their patients. As yet, we've started some early integration work with some of the shared care records, and we have an open API, and we're FHIR compliant in order to do that. And we're also in advanced discussions with EMIS, and we're hoping to integrate with them first, and then hopefully into other clinical systems, into next year. In terms of who approves the content, so we have a very strong clinical leadership throughout the company. So I'm a doctor myself. The company was founded by two consultant physicians, and we also have another clinical director. So we produce the content in-house, and we also have nurse specialists. We have a physiotherapist on our team and a health psychologist. So we tend to produce our content ourselves and then get it independently verified by experts within the respective disease area. So that'd be a diabetologist or a professor of cardiology, for example. So we produce it ourselves and then get it checked out.
Fantastic. And what is the business model? Who pays? How do you make money as a business?
Sure. So we work B2B2C. So we would sell to a healthcare organisation. So typically in NHS England, that'd be clinical commissioning groups, or we've also worked with health boards in Wales and Scotland. But we'll work with any size of organisation. So that could be anything like a GP practice or a PCN. It could be a clinical commissioning group or even a big STP. And they would usually commission our platform and access to it. And then we then train up all of their staff. We work with them to look at how they can get the most out of the platform. And then their clinicians would then give the apps out to patients. So it's free at the point of access for patients. And we sell into the larger NHS organisations.
And you're working with quite a lot of NHS organisations at the minute, and it'd be good to know more about that and the plans to add wearables and connectivity to make this more effective. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were lucky enough to have the first NHS approved app, which was MyCOPD, and that was the first app to be funded centrally by NHS England. And that allowed us to work with a really large percentage of NHS England. So we're in about 110 CCGs now. I think there's around 200 total. So, kind of 60% or so of NHS England we're working with one or more of our apps. We've got really good uptake, I think. We're up to over 30,000 patient users. And that number is really going up at the moment as well during COVID. We've started to bring in some wearable devices, so we can already integrate with scales and blood pressure cuffs and glucometers. So for checking your blood glucose, it's in our roadmap for the next year to then start looking at the more kind of consumer wearables, if you like, things like fitness trackers and that sort of thing. really the next stage for us is we're trying to get a lot more advanced in what we're doing. So we're trying to put AI into everything we do and give really personalized, tailored health advice, and then customize the platform to fit the needs of the individual. And getting the data from wearables is going to obviously form a big part of that.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. And if anybody wants to connect with My Health and Harry, please head over to the exhibition and you can join Harry on video to answer more questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Costa. Thank you.
Take care. Great. Let's go north now. We're going to go to Manchester to see Kasim at QV Bioelectronics, who's our regional winner for the north.
Hi, I'm Kasim, Head of Business Development at QV Bioelectronics, where we're pioneering life-extending treatment for terminal cancer patients. I'd like to start with a question. If you knew that you or a family member was going to die, how do you measure the value of time? In oncology, this is a very real and challenging question. And this is especially the case for the most common form of brain cancer, glioblastoma. The diagnosis of glioblastoma is effectively a death sentence, leaving patients with just over a year to live despite going through intensive standard treatment. However, after decades of little change, a recent breakthrough has shown that electrotherapy can increase patient life expectancy from 14 to 21 months post-diagnosis, buying patients valuable extra time. The treatment works by applying specific frequencies of electrical currents to the patient's head that interfere with cancer cell division and therefore slow tumor growth. However, this therapy only works while the currents are being applied. And what this means is that the longer patients undergo electrotherapy each day, the more effective their treatment. But with this comes a problem. For the only existing electrotherapy device, only 10% of patients use the device for the 18 hours a day that their physician recommends. And when you see what patients have to go through every single day, it's no surprise. And at a cost of $21,000 a month, very few people can actually afford this treatment. And even for those who can, the extra time they gain with the therapy comes at a huge cost to their quality of life. Despite this, the only commercial providers of electrotherapy, a company called Novocure, are valued at $8.2 billion on NASDAQ. And what this shows is that there's a clear market pull for electrotherapy, but also a clear gap for an accessible therapy that doesn't force patients to choose between extra time with their loved ones and their quality of life. And at QV Bioelectronics, our solution fills this gap. It's a completely internal electrotherapy device which will be implanted into the cavity left behind after tumor removal surgery. So this fits elegantly into the current treatment pathway. And then once implanted, it will be able to deliver pain as well as side effect-free treatment directly to the site where the cancer cells lies 24/7. And because electrotherapy application time is significantly increased, we can expect our device to double the life expectancy of patients compared to the standard of care. And the best part of this is that we can do this without impacting patient quality of life, so they can focus on what really matters to them. To deliver this plan, we've built an impressive multidisciplinary team. The team not only has the deep experience we need for the development of the devices as well as the core intellectual property, but we also have a strong clinical advisory board who are experts in the field of neurosurgery. And this is complemented by a commercial team and advisors that have a unicorn exit and multiple startup experience between them. The US and the UK will act as our beachhead markets, which are both worth a combined £900 million a year. Our vision is to exit through an IPO or acquisition in 2028 when the device is launched, but there are significant opportunities for an earlier exit through acquisition. Our planning shows that this journey will offer a greater than 70x exit opportunity, and after making great progress so far, our ask is for you to take that next step with us. We're raising £600,000 to obtain preclinical proof of concept, creating significant value for our early investors as well as a very compelling investment case for follow-on investors in that Series A round. And of course, we plan to leverage all money invested into the company. In the past, we've raised non-dilutive funding at a rate of £2 for every £1 of equity finance raised, delivering excellent value for money to our investors. In summary, I'd like you to remember QV Bioelectronics as a company transforming the outlook for terminal cancer patients. Grounded in established science, our protected innovation will be able to deliver twice the life expectancy compared to the standard of care. And we have an expert team who have the precise blend of skills needed to exploit this opportunity. We're now raising £600,000 to obtain preclinical proof of concept, and are expecting a return of 70x to our early investors. Join us in helping us pioneer life-extending treatment for terminal cancer patients. Thank you.
Fantastic. That was a great presentation. We're going to be joined by Kasim here from Manchester, who's our regional winner for the North, who will be answering our questions. Hey, Kasim.
Hi, Costa. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. Well, I've spoke to the judges and they said that your business is very interesting for scientific development, and it will be fascinating to see how much impact this kind of electronic simulation can have on brain tumors long term. It is a solution that's pretty niche, but they're really keen to know some of these questions. So what is the efficacy data in real trials and the safety data like in terms of infection risks, MHRA status? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So at the minute, we are a very early preclinical company. In terms of the efficacy data for electrotherapy, the existing technology, the Optune backpack developed by Novocure, is an external device. And essentially what that has shown is that it can increase life expectancy from 14 to 21 months post-diagnosis. But what's really more interesting is that the data shows from Novocure's own trials is that when patients wear the device, rather than just 18 hours a day, they wear it for 24 hours a day, their life expectancy jumps up to 28 months post-diagnosis. The issue is, of course, is that with the huge backpack and having to shave their head and apply these transducers, only 10% of patients actually comply with that 18-hour regime. So by having a complete implanted approach, we completely negate that issue, and therefore we can have 100% compliance and the device on 24/7, and therefore hopefully we believe extending life expectancy to the 28 months. We also believe we'll be able to get a greater impact than that because of the focality of the treatment as well.
Fantastic. And approval and use by clinical teams is often difficult. How do you plan to overcome this?
So we've made sure from a really early stage that we have specialist surgeons who are involved in the device development as well as the prototyping. So we're currently 3/4 of the way through an NIHR I4I Connect project, and that has involved developing the prototyping for the other parts of the device, so outside of the brain, such as the surgical fixation, the wires, the batteries. And we've made sure that part, as well as the actual surgical procedure, has been developed with the input of consultant as well as registrar neurosurgeons who are on our clinical advisory board.
Okay, great. And in terms of the cost, how does it compare to the current solution right now?
Yeah, so that's a big one. As a company, we want to make this an accessible treatment. Our vision is for every glioblastoma patient eventually to have this as part of their standard of care. And so in cost, we believe we would be far lower than that of Novocure. So Novocure is $21,000 a month currently, and that adds up to around in total, 126,000 per patient. In the UK, we'd probably be around the £36,000 mark per patient. And obviously in other markets, slight variation from this, but we really want to make sure we fall within the NHS barriers to make sure we can be recommended by NICE.
That makes sense. And so how do you intend to minimize the risk associated with the long-term development timescales?
Yeah, of course. So the risk itself is already minimized by the fact that most of the components of the actual device that we're using, the battery, the wires, the surgical fixation, a lot of it already exists in clinical practice today. Things such as deep brain stimulation devices or spinal cord stimulation devices work off a similar concept of having an implanted battery, which is powering a type of device on all the time. The main thing that's different about our technology is the rapidly conformable electrode that will sit in the cavity. We've been working on this for 2 years now and are collecting that preliminary data that's been really promising in terms of showing proper biocompatibility and safety as well. But we will continue to work on that as we progress.
Well, thanks so much for joining us and elaborating on all of that. And good luck today. And if anybody wants to connect with Kasim, please go to the exhibition stand later on.
Yeah, thank you, Costa.
Take care. Okay, fantastic. Let's go east. So we're going to go and see personal data management trading as IE Hub and Caphill. So let's play Caphill's pitch, please.
Welcome everyone to this presentation on IE Hub. IE Hub stands for Income and Expenditure Hub. I am Kapil Madan, the founder of IE Hub. IE Hub helps customers in financial difficulties. A customer in financial difficulty generally have 6 or more creditors. Each creditor needs to talk to the customer for around 45 minutes to get their detailed financial information. This information is used to create a repayment plan for the customer. The creditor needs to talk to the customer several times each year to keep on top of the customer's circumstances. This constant discussions with creditors throughout the year creates huge mental anxiety for customers. And in UK alone, 500,000 people contemplated suicide last year because of debt issues. Creditors, irrespective of sector, spend a lot of time and money to get customers' income and expenditure data, which is often incorrect. This data is provided by the customers over phone. They may not remember exactly how much they're spending on what items, or basic web forms, Excel files to be emailed, and even using paper forms. This information is generally not checked by the creditors. They receive the information, and this can result in poor customer outcomes. Let's watch a video which explains how a customer and creditor can be helped because of IE Hub.
Amy is worried. She lost her job and cannot pay her bills. She has to discuss changes to her circumstances with a number of companies. Water company, council, banks, energy company, and other lenders. They all want to talk to her several times each year to keep updated with her affordability. But then you ask her to use IE Hub. She logs into IE Hub's system using her email account or using the password that we sent her. Smart Questions ensures that she is only asked relevant questions. She can also use open banking to pull in data from her bank account. She can share her affordability information with all companies of her choice from a single portal. Your agent can review her affordability data using IE Hub CRM portal. You can also receive data using REST API, SFTP, or secure email. Your agents can compare her data with Credit Bureau for accuracy using our CRM system. We can also automate your checks and provide you a work queue to review exceptions. IE Hub can automatically email or SMS her a link to your payment arrangement portal. She is reminded automatically every 6 months to update her information if her circumstances have changed.
iHub is building a network of creditors that allows the customers to communicate with everyone that they have to deal with regarding their financial situation through a single portal. The social impact can be huge. As the COVID-19 driven economic crisis escalates, the FCA projects that around 12 million UK customers will need help, and this will swamp the creditor's operation and also cause widespread mental health issues. We are the right solution for the current crisis. iHub can help all creditors and organizations who work with distressed customers. We have proven the market opportunity, and you can see the number of creditors or lenders who are already working with iHub and helping customers who are having financial issues. We are looking for angel investment and rapid client sign up to our network. The timing is right with economic slowdown, creating huge demand for customers. On the other hand, the increased adoption of digital channels by customers will help them take on iHub easily. And then on top of that, there is the regulatory nudge. FCA and Ofgem are encouraging their companies to adopt solutions which help customers share their income and expenditure data. Winning the national title will significantly accelerate our client adoption rate. It cannot come at a better time for us. And thank you for your interest, and do reach out if you need more information. Bye-bye.
Great. It was great to see that presentation, and we're going to be joined by Kapil now from iHub. Here we go. Hey, Kapil. Your mic switched off, sorry.
There we go. How are you, Costa?
All right. Thank you for joining us, and great presentation as well.
Thank you.
I spoke to the judges, and they feel that the thought of 80 million people across Europe struggling to manage their debts is a depressing one to think of, and good tools may help alleviate that. They want to know, how does this link with current open banking?
So we have an open banking provider, and when a customer is going through their journey of providing their income expense information, we ask them if they would like to use our open banking provider to pull in the data. And if they want to do that, it's a click of a button and the data comes in.
Okay, great. And how do you reassure people to share this very sensitive information?
Our model is a B2B model. It's not a B2C model. So what we do is we tie up with banks, companies like water companies and energy companies and others like councils to signpost the customers to come to iHub. And because the lenders or councils are asking them to use iHub, it gives a lot of assurance to the customer that there has been good checking done on iHub before someone signs it off on the council or bank side. So that gives them a lot of confidence. We still have a tiny proportion of customers. We probably have around 1%, I would say, who still hesitate to use iHub. We do get requests from customers to delete their account, but again, it's a self-service thing, and they can delete the account immediately by themselves without having to talk to anyone. That also reassures customers that they actually control the data and no one else is using data for anything else apart from what they intended to be used for.
Mm. And for this service, it would be good to look at what outcomes people tend to have long term. Do you know, does it stop a spiral of debt?
It hasn't actually. So we went live in January this year, and obviously because of COVID, we had to halt to go live for 2-3 months while the world reorganized. We have been live since May properly. And since then, we have got around 15 or 16 lenders using iHub and number of debt charities using iHub now. And we know that the charities are helping the customers when they're advising them on managing their financial issues. But we also note that the customers are being helped by having access to lenders through an online digital portal rather than having to talk to them separately, one by one. And although we don't have evidence that spiraling of debt issues is happening or is being prevented by iHub, but what we do know is it's creating a lot of relief for people who are using iHub as of now. And I expect more evidence to come in over the next few months and years on how it helps in other ways.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us.
You.
You're in Milton Keynes, I understand?
That's correct.
Fantastic. Well, if anybody wants to connect with Kapil, he'll be in the exhibition from 12:45, and we look forward to seeing you then. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. Let's head west now. So we're going to now speak with Adam at CanSense, and he's going to give our pitch. So the West covers Wales and Midlands, for everybody wondering.
I'm Adam Bryant, and I'd like to introduce CanSense, where we believe in detecting cancer genuinely early saves more lives. And these days, cancer is affecting everyone. And I'm sure many of you in this call have had similar experiences to myself, where people that they've cared about have been diagnosed with cancer and diagnosed too late. In the future, we would hope that it doesn't have to be this way. We've been able to combine Raman spectroscopy with AI technology to develop an early detection of cancer, all cancers, using a simple blood test, a liquid biopsy. But our first focus is bowel cancer, diagnosing bowel cancer early when it is treatable and curable. And every day we have more and more headlines about cancer and how much better the outcomes are if we detect it early, and how even within our NHS is at breaking point, a capacity crisis with traditional diagnostic methods like colonoscopy. We need to rethink how we detect cancer, rethinking diagnostics. And bowel cancer is increasing within developing and countries and also within the younger population. It is, in the most part, when caught early enough, treatable. But why is it then that people present later at stages 3 and 4? Why is it 50% of people diagnosed are dying with bowel cancer? If detected early enough at stages 1, then you have a 90% chance of surviving the next 5 years. It's because the current system of testing is failing people. The pathway and the tests are not working. It's an ineffective method that needs changing. We have a simple blood test that significantly reduces the burden on the NHS, which is already in capacity crisis, and also is able to detect cancer early. And even more than that, it's able to detect precancerous polyps, the early signs of cancer. So being able to diagnose cancer early when it's treatable and curable is our mission. So how do we do this? A simple blood test through a laser spectrometer, producing a unique spectral fingerprint that is looked at by our AI proprietary model and informs the clinician immediately. And we're not alone in this problem. This is a global healthcare problem. And if we just look at the UK, in the reduction of colonoscopies that do not need to happen and instead have a blood test, could be a 265 million saving per year. Globally, it could be a 4.2 billion cost saving to healthcare providers. This is a major disruptor, closing both the efficiency and financial gap within healthcare, saving lives and saving taxpayers' money. We are looking to change a broken pathway, giving rapid reassurance if negative and prompt referral if positive, not bouncing back between GP and secondary care. Empowering primary GP practices to make quick and accurate decisions, speeding up diagnostic process for those at greatest risk, while reducing invasive procedures, significantly reducing anxiety for patients, saving lives, saving money. To give you some insight into our ambition though, we would like to make Raman spectroscopy a test for all cancers and cancer screening globally, disrupting and simplifying screening procedures, both saving lives and saving money, but not just in the UK, in countries where they do not have any testing capacity at all. We have an expert team passionate about making a difference to patient lives, translating this from a lab to a clinical setting. The diagnostic is built on extensive academic research and clinical trials carried out by Professors Dean Harris and Professor Peter Dunstan. And through our ongoing clinical trials, the potential of our test has been already recognised by leading cancer experts, but also the potential of our test has been recognised perhaps more significantly by patients, making a difference a simple blood test can have on their lives rather than having a most horrible experience of invasive procedures and done on a regular basis. And our validation has come by winning both in academically and winning business competitions. But there's no doubt it would be fantastic to win this national competition. And as we believe we're going to make the biggest impact on society, diagnosing cancer early when it is treatable and curable. And please help us in our mission.
Some really powerful stuff there. We're going to be joined by Adam now, who's going to join us from the west, from Swansea. Hey, Adam. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Costa.
I've spoke to the judges and they really feel that this has a lot of potential to create a huge impact if it can improve detection rates for colorectal cancer, and even more so if it can detect other cancers like pancreatic cancer. So they'd just like to know the following, really. What exactly sets this apart from other similar tests, and what plans do you have for getting this in use in hospitals and clinics?
Yeah, I think what sets it apart certainly from the current tests, and one is obviously being used at the moment for screening alone, is the fecal test, the FIT test. And people don't want to engage and are not engaging as much as you would like with the fecal test. So this is a blood-based test, which certainly means compliance rates would increase significantly versus fecal test. The sensitivity and specificity around this is detecting cancer rather than just blood in stools. And then if I was to mention what else is out there in with regard what's called circulating tumor DNA testing, is that these tests are very expensive, as in around $500 or more to do. Our test is inexpensive, and the test itself allows it to be high throughput, which is different to how others. It's not using reagents, which keeps it inexpensive. And we can do that also to detect other cancers, which is the exciting thing. Furthermore, the screening application of this, because it is inexpensive, allows itself to early stage detection, which is currently something that not even ctDNA testing is able to do. And when I mean early detection, stages 1 or stages 2, but we've also had pilot studies on precancer. So precancerous polyps in this. So that's super exciting.
Excellent. And as I was asking earlier to QV Bio, what are the current diagnostic test efficacy data, sensitivity, precision, false positives, versus the gold standard out there, screening test or diagnostic test?
Yeah, so obviously the diagnostic for, if we just look at bowel cancer alone, is the colonoscopy, but even that has been shown wide variations, depends who's doing it. However, that is what's delivered as gold standard, but our negative predictive values, so the ability to tell most people that they don't have cancer, which the majority of people either at the GP or screening don't have cancer, is up at 98% for us. So we can rapidly turn around this test and tell people with high degree of accuracy that they don't have bowel cancer. And that is huge for people, and anxiety and relief in a quick time frame. Compare that to FIT testing, which could take a week or 2 weeks or more, and compare that even with DNA testing that is not quite at those levels yet. So that's, I think, again, very exciting about this use of technology. And sensitivity and specificity is, with AI technology, as you know, Costa, is always improving. So ours is had about 1,000 plus patients in bowel cancer alone, and that is around 85–90% on both numbers, and that's improving all the time.
Fantastic. And what IP do you actually own in terms of the Raman spectrography copy, since it's well described in open source literature?
Yeah. So the Raman piece is actually, I noticed that the physicist who developed it, I think it was he was born 100 years ago. So, you know, it's been around, Raman spectroscopy has been around a while. However, this is Raman spectroscopy combined with high throughput, which is the IP piece around how we can analyze and moreover, how we can analyze biofluids, make that stable as possible in a high throughput environment, and compare that to an AI model that allows us to accurately predict whether a person has cancer, no cancer. And furthermore, we'll be able to develop models for each cancer type and hopefully each stage of cancer as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully people want to connect with you in the exhibition booth later. So thanks very much and good luck.
Likewise, I'd like to say thanks very much to you guys putting this on as well, and the judges. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. Awesome. Let's go over to Northern Ireland. So we're going to listen to TAP SOS now, and we're going to play Becca's video.
My name is Becca Hume. I'm a 30-year-old compassionate entrepreneur driven by injustice and inequality. I'm determined to make an impact for societal good. I think it's important to explore why certain products and services come into production. Most have a really significant why story, and TAP SOS is no different. You might already be familiar with the 999 story. It was initiated after a fire broke out in London in 1935, killing 5 women. And now, throughout the nation, people can telephone emergency services in their time of great need. The UK led the way, becoming the first in the world to have an emergency service. When I was 16, I started a part-time job in Marks & Spencer in their food hall. I'd been told to ask a colleague, Nigel, to help me, and that I'd find him in the warehouse wearing a high-vis vest. I noticed a guy standing at the industrial lift. I'd been speaking, but he hadn't turned around, and when I got next to him, I nudged him while asking again, and at that point, Nigel jumped around and instantly indicated that he was deaf. That was my first experience of communicating with someone who was deaf. I knew from that moment I'd like to learn sign language, as this was Nigel's language. I spent the next 8 years going to night classes in college to learn and to work through the levels to complete BSL Level 6. This encounter led to a friendship and made me wonder, how would someone like Nigel reach out to 999 during his time of need? And the more I thought about it, the more I realised it isn't just Nigel who would face challenges to telephone 999, but what if someone was taking an allergic reaction, their throat begins to swell, making it difficult to speak. Choking, again, a restriction to speak. Having an asthma attack or a severe breathing difficulty. Having chest pains or abdominal pains that have you buckled over and gasping for air. Experiencing domestic abuse and needing to discreetly request help. If you were hiding or frightened to speak for fear of being heard, you'd want a silent solution. A solution that isn't just the option of texting, that isn't just pressing 55 and hoping that you'll be responded to, but a clear, informative way that knows you, knows your situation, and can send exactly the right amount of information to the emergency services promptly and discreetly. In 2016, I founded TAP SOS, a smartphone app for non-verbal communication with 999, designed in a highly visual manner using icons. As you can see from the screen, our app allows you to select the service you require, share information on the incident you're experiencing, identify your location, and answer 3 short questions to help with the 999 triage. This is then submitted to BT and responded to by the most appropriate emergency service. To date, I have led TAP SOS through various stages. We have raised £290,000, of which £240,000 has been grant funding. I led TAP SOS through a grueling 4-year process to become the first fully accredited and approved smartphone app by DCMS. This meant our technology had been given approval to connect with BT 999 emergency systems, and after live testing in December 2019, our app went live on the app stores. While this has been one of our most challenging milestones, it has been our biggest achievement to date. My personal favourite achievement was in 2017 when we took part in Virgin Film, and as a regional winner, I was invited to have brunch with Sir Richard Branson. We talked about TAP SOS and our shared experience of being dyslexic and the struggles but opportunities it can bring. Like Richard Branson, I dream big visions. It is my personal ambition to lead and be the driving force for more inclusion and better access when communicating with emergency services. Too many people are excluded or have life-threatening barriers to this crucial service. We at TAP SOS want to change that. Over the next 6 months, from now until April, we are developing a new app specifically for victims experiencing domestic abuse. We recognise the impact that COVID-19 has had and want to ensure that all people have access to 999 regardless of any barriers, whether physical, medical or situational. We're really thankful to be selected as regional winners and being given the opportunity to present today. Being recognised as the national winner would further the momentum and help us build brand awareness and gain more traction to such a vital service. Thank you.
Great presentation. So we're now going to be joined by Becca from TAP SOS. Hey, Becca. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
I've spoken to the judges and they believe that TAP SOS is a good way of updating the outdated 999 system, and it's encouraging to see that it's already in use by Devon and Cornwall Police. They're keen to know, how many users do you currently have and how are you aiming to acquire your next users going forward?
Yeah, sure. TAP SOS is actually available for all of the UK. So we did partner with Devon and Cornwall initially to pilot and test the technology, but it's now available across the UK. So it doesn't matter as a user where you are, you will get emergency help. We have actually not officially launched it. So we went live on the app stores, but discreetly. So we didn't actually announce it. But across our social media channels, you will see that you can download it. But we have been developing and building our tech over the last 12 months. And in our discreet kind of launch, we had 500 people download the app, and that was through our Twitter and through our social media. But we're now at a point where we're going to update the new release and make that become more across the UK, more brand awareness.
Great. So you got some good engagement for a quiet launch.
Yeah, we did.
And is this reliant on having people having pre-registered before they need the product, even now and when you go live fully?
Mm-hmm. So what happens when the user downloads the app, we do the registration process for them. So it's all part of the setup. A user will just have to create a profile, and that is just to store information about themselves that will further assist emergency responders at the time of emergency. So basically it's a setup process that takes about 2 minutes to create a profile, and that's you ready to go. So in a circumstance of needing 999, it's instantly in the app and away you go with the steps.
Okay, great. And in your application that you submitted, you say that equality, inclusivity and diversity is at the heart of everything you do. How are you hoping to represent this in the continued development and adoption of the product going forward?
That's a good question. In the next 6 months, we're developing another layer of our technology specifically for victims of domestic abuse. And at each stage, we always include users. It's very important just to understand the needs, and we do bring on people at that early stage and monitor and review at each stage as we go. We're also partnered with the Ulster University here local in Northern Ireland, and that's again just to really understand and research every element that we are developing to make sure that it's viable and it is a requirement that everyone needs.
Fantastic. And are there any statistics, even at this early stage, that you've got in terms of whether it's helped save lives or help I mean, does it have a good enough job of preventing accidental calls as well?
At the moment, it's one of those apps that you build and hope no one ever needs to use, but unfortunately people do. In the last 12 months, we haven't had any active alerts made from our 500 users, but we do see daily use of the app, that people are opening it, checking it, and that's something we built into our latest release, is like an app preview, which allows people to get familiar with making that call. It is a big change from a focal 999 call, and we're aware of that some people will prefer to use 999 voice call, but for those who can't, this is the option, and people can get familiar with the app, and then once they need it, they will understand the process, what to go through. But no, there are no live alerts just yet. But again, I think that will change once we have fully and officially launched and have a lot more users on board.
And getting this into widespread use is going to need a lot of publicity. Do you have any plans for this?
Yeah, so our next stage of development over the next 6 months, we're partnered with Dorset Police, and that's going to be kind of our route into spreading awareness of the app. So we're engaging with each constabulary and forces, again, charities and associations that are linked with our particular users. So Tap SOS, the general app, is really focused on speech and language, people, barriers, maybe medical or physical situations that prevent them from calling. So there are a lot of charities and organizations that are supportive of those individuals, and we just believe that there'll be like an organic and natural spread of kind of Tap SOS, because that's how it's already achieved those 500 downloads, is just natural uptake. But yeah, we are planning through the police forces initially, and then into charities and organizations.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and
thank you very much.
Met with some people in the exhibition later on.
Absolutely. Great.
Very much. Take care.
Thank you.
And now we're going to head on to our last pitch, which is with Beam, our regional winner for London. So let's play Beam's video.
Three years ago, I became friends with a homeless man who would sit outside this tube station. I'd buy him cups of coffee and socks when it was getting cold, but I could see his condition going from bad to worse. What this man needed wasn't another coffee. It was the skills to support himself. Beam is a completely new way to help a homeless person for the long term. You crowdfund employment training, and we support them into stable, skilled work.
I never had enough money to pay for my education. I'm doing garden maintenance, getting the funding from Beam. It was really beneficial. I went to college and it did go on to employment. I'm always looking for the opportunity to make my life better, basically, and Beam has done that for me.
The process is really simple yet powerful. Each person gets a dedicated support specialist who works with them to build a career plan based on their unique aspirations. We then build a campaign page with their story and a detailed budget to address any of their financial barriers. After a campaign funds, supporters get updates on the integrated newsfeed, and because transparency is one of our core values, we even provide live data on their progress. But we let supporters give more than money.
I love the most the messages they say, "You can do it, Hannah, go for it." For me, it's like more than money. When I explain about Beam, it's like family. It's a family.
But Beam goes beyond just making a difference to homeless people's lives. We let employers access an exciting but often overlooked talent pool. So far, we've funded more than 140 campaigns in careers ranging from construction to medicine. We provide government with social mobility as a service, which could save taxpayers billions of dollars in welfare costs as we continue to scale. Beam is changing the lives of people, from refugees and army veterans to single mums.
Beam has actually helped me to overcome some of the barriers that I never thought I would have, especially being a single mom. For 1 year, I did my diploma in health and social care in adult care. I'm really looking forward to graduating from college. I've never graduated from high school. The journey has not been an easy one, but this only makes me want to fight for more.
I haven't seen that man outside this tube station since we launched Beam, but I do know that there are millions of people out there who want to support others like him. Here's the vision, that in cities all over the world, Disadvantaged people will be referred to Beam by local nonprofits, crowdfunded by local people, trained in local training centres and hired by local companies who need their skills. Let's live in more connected communities. Let's build fairer economies. Let's give everyone the chance to be amazing.
Great, thanks for that video with Alex. We're now going to be joined by Chloe. So can we add Chloe to the call? Hi there, Chloe. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you. I've got some questions from the judges for you. They're keen to know what challenges that Beam has now that it's scaling, and how can it address these challenges in an efficient way?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the first point is that the service users we work with are affected by housing and homeless issues. So we're working with a group of people who maybe don't have as good access to technology as maybe the general population, and also more affected by health needs, mental health, physical health, and issues related to that. So what we're trying to do is, most tech startups would scale using technology very quickly, but what we need to do here is help people with accessing digital technology. So something we've been doing during the pandemic is a huge majority of our service users get given a laptop, but also a smartphone and Wi-Fi access. And that's something we use in the crowdfunding. And that's really important as we scale, because as you know, for now we're in London, but we're being approached by cities around the UK and also around the world. And if we can run our service remotely and help people to get online rather than coming into appointments, especially in this sort of pandemic era, then that's going to really help us scale.
Absolutely. And how many users do you currently have now?
Yeah, so we've had over 350 people who've been affected by homelessness to use the platform. But in terms of our donations, we've had donations from thousands of people. We have 6,000 supporters who give to Beam and sort of on a subscription basis. And that's raised £1.25 million in just over the 3 years we've been going.
Oh, very well done with that. And do you link with any other systems like Just Giving or any other donation systems? Or is it all your own technology?
Yeah, it's all our own in-house technology, the Beam platform. So yeah, the model and how it works there is that when people come to the website to donate, there's no service fee. 100% of donations go to our beneficiaries, but people can add that on. And we find that works really well in terms of being transparent. And also our beneficiaries, we're helping them access and use this platform. And the fact we can say 100% of donations go to them is fantastic.
That's really great. And do you have any corporate sponsors that help you with this journey or make corporate donations?
Yeah, we have several companies who do pro bono work for us and also get involved. So companies like Plentific, they work in the housing sector doing maintenance, and they donate regular sums of money to campaigns to people who are raising funds for jobs that they support. So things like in the trades, electricians, plumbers. Lots of other companies do that. We have a fantastic impact page where companies can really see their impact in each person that they're donating to, and who goes on to start work. So yeah, the setup there for corporate partners to get involved is great. And we're kind of doing that over Christmas as well. Lots of companies aren't doing a Christmas party this year. People, I think, want to give more to their community. So yeah, certainly a good way for corporates to get involved.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining. And yeah, you won't be joining us in the exhibition later on, but your details will be there. So if anybody wants to connect with you, they can click the SuperConnect Me button and we'll introduce you via email. But thank you very much for your help.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think I'm joining again later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, great. So you've seen our 8 regional winners there. Thanks so much to all those finalists. And I'm sure you can all agree that they're creating some wonderful impact and everybody is a worthy winner. The judges are going to actually have a really hard decision now. But we'll be back on this main stage at 12:15 to announce the 7 industry winners and also the national winner. But right now, everybody is now to head over to the session section, which you'll see on the left of your page, to see the Tech for Good roundtable, which will be hosted by Sifted. We'll be joined by our 4 national judges from Hayes, Great Ormond Street Hospital, North Invest, and also myself and the UK MD for Microsoft for Startups. It's going to cover the fundamental questions about Tech for Good, what needs to be done, and what the future might hold. If anybody's got any questions, please put them in the chat area, and I know my team is supporting you, can see that as well. And yeah, I'll see you in the session very shortly. So we're about to begin.